we start, I have a confession to make. Today's Monday. Today's not Sunday. And this is the Sunday short. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that this is the Monday edition of the Sunday short. Does that work? I don't know. Maybe not. It's my bad though. It's a Monday, it's not a Sunday. But we're gonna get through it. We're gonna get through it together. So I have a question for you. A few questions actually. What's better? Saying that you'll mow the lawn or actually mowing the lawn? Saying that you'll do your homework or actually handing in your assignment? Telling someone that you love them or going out of your way to show that you really do? Now, these aren't trick questions, right? I'm not trying to make it hard to answer these questions. And I think there is a right answer. Think about it. Let's bring in superheroes, right? This is still the Heroes of the Faith series. So if we think about superheroes, think about Superman. He's probably the most overpowered superhero that there is. Just my opinion. But Superman isn't a great hero because he sits around and he thinks about how great it would be to save people. Right? He knows that there's people in a burning building, but he thinks, in my mind I can save them, but when it comes to reality, I'm not going to do it. I just don't feel like it right now. Right? That's not why Superman is great. Superman is great because he sees the need and then he goes does something about it. Right? He actually saves people. And it's this action piece, right? Superman's seeing a need and springing into action. It's that action that makes all the difference. So why does this matter? Because today's hero, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, he didn't just sit around thinking about how great it would be to follow Jesus. He actually sprang into action. So, who is Dietrich Bonhoeffer? See, the exciting thing is that I get to introduce you all to people that I barely even know, and I get a chance to learn more about, right? And so probably these are new people for you. And if that's the case, I'm excited because I think we can learn together about these amazing people who lived out their faith. So Dietrich Bonhoeffer, he was born in 1906 in Germany to a really incredible family. A lot of the people we've talked about, I've mentioned their families and said a lot of times they don't come from very, in the world's eyes, very significant families. But Dietrich Bonhoeffer was different. Dietrich's dad, Karl Bonhoeffer, was one of the most famous psychiatrists in Germany in the first half of the 20th century, right, the 1900s. His mom earned a teaching degree before women really commonly got teaching degrees. Right, this was a really big deal. His brother, also named Karl, took part in splitting the atom. So I don't know if they, like atom, not ADAM, right? Splitting the atom, the smallest known particle, right, that makes up our bodies. He split the atom with Max Planck and Albert Einstein. So if you're running around doing things with Albert Einstein, you're a pretty smart cat. Okay, so this is his family. They're really, really significant, smart, influential people in Germany. His mom was a Christian and his dad was not. But by the time Dietrich was 13, he decided not only to be a Christian, but he decided to study theology. Right? And if you were in youth group a few weeks ago, we talked about theology. It's this study of God, right? God words. So that's who Dietrich Bonhoeffer was. Now, what did he do? So, 13 years old, he decides, I'm going to go into theology. Right, that's a pretty big decision for a 13-year-old to make. But something happened to Dietrich that caused his faith in Jesus to move from his head to his heart. Because by the time he was a little bit older, so he was, but where we're picking up in the story, Dietrich is 24 years old. And by that time, he was a genius. He had gone to college, he had gone to seminary, and he had earned a doctorate degree in theology at a very prestigious university in Germany. Right? And when he was 24, Dietrich traveled to the United States, and he met a friend named Frank Fisher, who invited him to an all-black church, the I'm not going to say it right, but Abyssinian Baptist Church in the Harlem neighborhood of New York City. And this church changed Dietrich. He was blown away by the way these Christians worshiped God. Because to him, it seemed like they weren't just Christians going through the motions of church, just doing the right things and saying the right words to check off a list. But they were genuinely crying out to God as they worshiped him. Right? And their beliefs led to action. This changed Dietrich and what he knew and thought about the church. And it would actually go on to change the course of his life. So after going to this church in New York City, ultimately, Dietrich's convictions about how the church should act and look as lovers and followers of Jesus, right? Not just good people. These convictions led him to go back to Germany and to resist Adolf Hitler. Right? So, like I said, Dietrich was born in 1906. By the 1930s, Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party was starting to come to power. And so Dietrich would resist Adolf Hitler, and he would go on to speak out against him publicly. There's a time, he has a really famous speech that he wrote and spoke on the radio. But by the end of his speech, he didn't be able to finish it. It was shut down by the Nazi Party. But then Dietrich would go on to lead the underground church in Germany that resisted the Nazi rule. Because you see, the church in Germany sided with Hitler. I said, this guy's okay. He's a good guy, right? He's gonna lead Germany out of these dark times we've been in. And Dietrich and other pastors in Germany, other theologians said, this is not right. Right? The way that the Nazi Party is treating people such as the Jews, right, is not okay. Right? This is not the real church. So they led an underground church called the Confessing Church against Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. Right? And he was passionate, like I said, about standing up for Jewish people who were being targeted, harassed, and killed by the Nazi regime. And this was because Jesus, right? Dietrich believed that he stood up for the dignity of people who were being treated and hated by society. Dietrich was also in the plot to assassinate Hitler. And he went on to be a double spy, a double agent. Right? On the surface, he was working. He was a part of the Nazi military force, a part of their intelligence gathering part of the military. And he traveled to other countries as a Nazi. But the truth was that he wasn't really working for the Nazi Party. Right? He was trying to work against them. He was trying to plot against them to take down Hitler. But eventually he'd be found out. And he went on to be executed less than a month before the end of World War II. Less than a month before Nazi Germany fell and the Allies won. Right? So why does this matter? That was a lot. And I would really encourage you to learn more on your own about Dietrich Bonhoeffer. He's a really incredible man. But why does it matter? Right? Why am I telling you these things? Because I believe that Dietrich Bonhoeffer did not waste his life, and he did not waste his death. He didn't just preach and teach about following Jesus, but he really did it. And this is how the world will know who Jesus is. By living our lives in a way that looks like Jesus and glorifies God. And so it's my hope and it's my prayer for us, Bethel youth, that we wouldn't just play church games. We wouldn't just be nice people and be nice to our friends, although we should be doing that. But why? Right? Why are we doing that? Is it for ourselves so we can look better? So we can seem like a good person to other people? Or is it because we believe that Jesus loved us first and that he calls us to be different in this world? He calls us to love others sacrificially and to lay our lives down for other people. I don't want us to just be a nice group. I don't want us to just talk the talk. I want us to walk the walk. Right, that's my heart. That's my prayer for Bethel youth. Right, and that's my prayer for myself. So I hope you think about Dietrich. I hope you maybe learn some more about him. And that we would live this life in such a way that brings glory to God. Thanks for watching.